giants, monsters, mastodons, juggernauts, however you want to phrase it, man. There's going to be a lot of weight, a lot of size in today's video. We're covering all of the big men that we've seen in the squared circle. No matter if you're 7 foot, if you're over 500 pounds, you're going to be part of this video. So let's get it. The intimidating size of some of these men is kind of what brought them into the business. Not all were great wrestlers. They were kind of more of an attraction, especially when it came to Giant Gonzalez. But some had that ability, man, that in-ring ability, that pure athlete, world's strongest man, Mark Henry. He didn't start in wrestling. No. He was actually doing the competition of the world's strongest men where they try to lift up X amount of weight in a certain amount of time. He dominated that, man. I think he pulled a semi on a SmackDown episode. The man stood at 6'4", 400 pounds. Undertaker. He was kind of always there with him, man, alongside. I mean, when he was in this top prime, Undertaker right here, he was the guy, man. Like, even in the younger, I would say earlier days Taker, man, it was something that had to be seen because you didn't see a man that was close to 7 feet diving off the top the way that he did. He stood at 6'10", almost 7 feet, and that's why they aligned him with Kane. Now, Kane, it wasn't his real brother. It was all storyline, but it worked well. That was actually how Kane made his debut as Undertaker's brother at Hell in a Cell. He stood at about 7 feet. Both of these two stood well over 300 pounds. Now, I don't know if you can consider these or the worm right here part of this video. He's not a wrestler. He did have a wrestling match in WCW, but Dennis Rodman, 6'7", 200. I just wanted to throw him in here, man, because this figure is pretty cool. Like, he's actually alongside, like, let's say Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman standing at about 6'8", give or take, and Rodman right there. Look at that, man. Like, they're in scale. This was made by Toy Biz. Really awesome figure. Now, Braun Strowman re-release on so many different occasions, man. But Braun, big Braun. I mean, as of right now, current roster, main show, big dude on Raw. He is the guy right now. 6'8", about 350 pounds, give or take. Now, one guy that has made a dramatic change in his physical appearance, it's the Big Show. Earlier, younger Big Show, he was closer to the 500-pound mark. The height, I mean, the guy's always had the height, about 7'2". They do advertise a lot of these guys a lot taller than what they actually are. But for the most part, it's pretty close to what their actual height is. Now, he's almost down to 383 pounds. So he's lost well over 100 pounds. He's looking actually better than what he did back in WCW. Actually, not agility-wise, because when he was in WCW, he was quick, man. For his sheer size, like, he kind of stood out alongside right there with Andre the Giant, which I don't know if you can consider him the biggest. I mean, height and combination of the weight, I think he still holds a pretty good belt in that, which is about 7'4", 458 pounds. Sorry, 520 pounds. So just a really big guy. And he played some great roles, man. Like, his WWE career, it was awesome. But like in the movies, the guy knew how to act. Regardless of his English not being solid, he was pretty damn good. Now, Big Daddy V, Mabel, Viscera, this man, he's going to get all types of figures. They've already said it, man. Mattel already told us that they are in the works. They really want, a lot of people want to see a Big Daddy V. Viscera is another one that was like up there in the Richter scale, man. Like 6'9", 487 pounds. I mean, towards the end, dude, like, it got so bad, so carried away to where WWE, they kind of didn't want to take the chance on him. Like, this guy was a liability. Like, his earlier in-ring ability, this guy was a walking liability, injured so many superstars. And that's kind of why Yokozuna, too, why they kind of just parted away with him. Like, guy was also, like, they were trying to get him to get down to a certain weight, but he just, I don't know, he wanted to get bigger, so he actually ended up doing it, not in WWE, but he still did independent wrestling. And when he was down there, man, I mean, he was getting damn close to like 600 pounds. One thing that I really want to do with one of the biggest figures that I do have here, I kind of want to put them side by side so you guys can get a good idea of not just like the actual superstar himself, but the man. I mean, this is a close reflection, the closest thing, and the tallest figure, I believe, in my WWE figure collection, Giant Gonzalez. Now, he was advertised at about 8 feet, but truly he was 7'7". I mean, that's still pretty damn tall. That's taller than Andre the Giant, Big. I mean, you name any other name in WWE history, no one came close to the height as to what this guy did. And this is kind of going back to what I was saying, how he was kind of more of an attraction. He wasn't very, like, he could barely stand stand in the ring on his own 2 feet when he would get hit. Like, he would kind of just do like a strut, like you'd hit him and he'd be like, oh, I'm too big for you. Here's Rey Mysterio. Look at this. Rey's like right there at the bottom half of his actual abdominal area. Now, these are not in any particular order because hands down, this one would have to be the main event of the show. Akeem, get over here, Akeem. Akeem was one-man gang. He had several different characters. Actually, a lot of these guys, they all had different characters. But I had to choose this one. They never made one-man gang, so I'm crossing. I'm still holding my breath, and I hope they do. This guy was about 6'9", 450 pounds, and putting a 6'9" superstar next to Giant Gonzalez, it just shows you, man, like even with the hat, I mean, the hat's giving him at least about 4 or 5 inches more, but he's still right there at the chin. That's insane. Next, Kamala, also known as Wrestling Day's favorite, Kamala. Oh my gosh, come on, 6'7", 380 pounds. The mask right here, he didn't wear this during actual in-ring competition. This is all part of his entrance gear. He did keep this piece right here, which is made out of cloth, so he actually did wrestle with, what would you call this? It's not a skirt. I mean, it's similar like a skirt, but it's one that's worth mentioning right here on this video. Big John Stud, the name said it all. Big John right here, he was aligned with several different members. I know he at one point, he was part of the $1 Million, it was Ted DiBiase. It was actually no. There was that one, and there was also the 4-pack because that was the way that you could have gotten this. This was the Target exclusive 4-pack right there, the Hall of Champions, and then they did so bad, man. Like had they released him on his own, I don't know if he would have done any better on his own. But that 4-pack, you guys, I'm telling you, he started shelf warming. They started clearancing him out. But all that put aside, man, Big John Stud right here, he did stand 6'10", 364 pounds. Abyss, not WWE, but TNA. Abyss was almost like the Kane. You could consider him the Kane for TNA. He was 6'8", 350 pounds. This is a custom if you are curious, like Hero Figs, where do I get an Abyss? It's not made by Mattel. I did use Mattel parts, obviously. The scan, there's several that you could do. I know we've done the formula, but this was like years ago that we reviewed this figure. So if you're not familiar with it, I just ended up using like one of those Hulk Hogan's. I added the shirt that actually came with Toy Biz, as well as the scan. You don't want to do the Jack scan. The Jack scan is way too big. This next one, I'm not going to consider him a custom, but it is fantasy. It's actually, look, we never got it in elite form, so when I got my hands right there on that medieval look accessory pack, I had to put it on the Great Khali. It kind of masked that torso, so even like with the hat, it's actually putting him pretty darn close. Look at Giant Gonzalez. Gonzalez, again, almost 7'7". His height was 7'1", but I don't know what it is about the Great Khali. I think it's the elongated face that he has, like his actual look, man. It makes him look so much bigger, and he was advertised, I think, as 7'4" in WWE. I mean, if you are really, really curious, I'll take it off, man. There was two different. There was a black one. There was one with the black pants, and then there was the red one right here that had the Punjabi. Still one of my favorite basics, and I still do hope that he gets back on a legend contract deal so we can finally get the elite scale version of him. Kevin Nash, Big Diesel, Big Sexy, different forms. This one has got to be one of my favorites, man. Like another man that was close to the 7-foot tall marker right there. Big change too. I mean, he left WWE. He wanted to start a whole new beginning, and I'm glad he did, because when he joined WCW, he kind of got to write his own script. Like, he was behind a lot of the writing, him, Hulk Hogan, and Scott Hall. I love this one, man. This one was the fix-up that we had gotten from that basic scan, which kind of gives it like that updated True FX. Still, the blonde locks, man, one of the bestest and closest ones to reflect the actual look right there of Big Sexy King Kong Bundy. You got King Kong in your name, you got to show that in physique form. 6'4", 458 pounds. His career, it was one of those things where he never reached a peak. Like, he had matches against Hulk Hogan, but thing is that he never got to that point, that level that he was. I think he should have, man. Like, they gave him such a big push. Not sure why they didn't follow through with it. We've only seen one release of this one, and this figure, it's got to be actually the most rare big man in this video. It was the Legends series, which is kind of like Mattel's version of the Flash flashback before they actually introduced that wave. So if you do want to get your hands on this, you got to, it's going to be an eBay find for sure, and it's going to be a high dollar. The thing too about this figure that they don't normally do this anymore with like the actual ring attire. Now they kind of go to more like a painted on wrestling tights. This one was actually cloth, so you could have removed it. I do remember when this one had first popped up, Ringside Collectibles, man, they had a whole bunch of these Legends figures at like super cheap. So if you were there early enough, that figure, yeah, it's a gem. Typhoon and Earthquake, the combination of these two guys in the ring, 851 pounds. That's not even their actual competitors. Most of them, I mean, when they did start, they kind of do it how they do it now, where they just get like hometown heroes or jobbers. But later on, dude, the sheer size, and also too, I do want to point this out. A lot of these, like, I know he had a different version of like Shockmaster, there was Tugboat, there was different variations of these two men, their characters. They changed throughout the years, and the cool thing is that Mattel, they did capitalize on those guys. Now, I'm not going to consider these guys like the cruiserweights of the videos, because they are still standing at close to 350 pounds. We got Bam Bigelow and Vader, and that's kind of right there alongside with King Kong Bundy. Not size, but as far as rarity, especially this one. There's two different kind of Vaders that you can get. There's this one right here, or there's the one that's like, it's more of a pronounced, the color's black. It's like a solid black, a little bit of red, but this is kind of dominating. And I think the mask too, I'll have to go back and check it out. I think they might have had different head scans. This one also did have a Walmart exclusive. So glad that they did, because like even during that time when that one was put out, the re-release of Bam Bigelow, this one was still pretty rare. So if you never got a chance to pick them up first go around, that Walmart exclusive would have been your bet. But now they're just kind of alongside right there as far as value. Sid, Psycho Sid Vicious. Oh man, this guy, like Undertaker. So during earlier career for Taker, there wasn't a lot of people that could stand side by side, you know, nose to nose with the dead man. Sid was he was actually one of few. It was actually him, Kevin Nash, or actually not Kevin Nash, but Diesel during that time. Sid Vicious, man, he brought the fight right there to Undertaker. This is kind of a custom. I'm going to call it a custom. I used the one where he had the solid black trunks, but I added the cloth goods to it. I think actually this might have came off. No. Actually, yeah, because I did pick when they had first gone up, like I said, $12 on Ringside Collectibles. So I picked up two of them, and I know I made a custom out of the remaining attire for that, which I believe was Viscera. So I had an extra cloth piece, and I added it to it. And I was actually kind of second guessing myself, because I mean, if you look at the width on that figure, it's twice the size, but it slipped on there pretty good, which is an earlier Sid Vicious right here. This is almost like Four Horsemen era, you could call it. Rikishi, 6'1". That's actually, he might be the shortest one in this video. But as far as like weight goes, oh dude, that's a whole different story. He was 425 pounds. I know that once he had retired, he had gone down dramatically too as well on weight. I do follow him on Instagram, so I know like his thrive and push right now. Apart from his Uso, you know, his kids being the Usos, like his biggest drive right now is just trying to get back into a healthier state. Because being this guy, like, look, regardless, dude, it's cool. A lot of these guys were main attraction, but their health, man, it deteriorated like really bad. Like the average life expectancy of a lot of these guys is about 40, I think mid 40s. Tenzai, actually, he's still very much involved right now in WWE. He helps out a lot of the NXT guys. He's kind of more of a coach. You can consider Tenzai right here as kind of like the guy to carry the new generation over. Now, Tenzai, he wasn't my favorite character that he played. I have to say Prince Albert, that one, man, that one was cool. He had all that exposed. I mean, all this does come off if you are curious. Like, there's actually a lot of tattoo work on the chest piece. This wasn't a real tattoo that he had actually worn. This was something that he would paint on his face, on his shoulders, just to give you more of an intimidating look. And when he did return, you guys, he actually made quite a name for himself in New Japan. So there was a lot of people that were very familiar with it. Beginning, yeah, he had a huge push. Like, he was actually beating John Cena, and then it didn't take long before he got buried. Very similar to Brodus Clay. Now, I don't have the Elite on hand, the basic. This is probably the closest one that I can show you and demonstrate to you that he's still, I mean, with the other big dudes, he's still pretty much there, man. Now, if you are curious, like, which one's my favorite out of all these, well, I don't know. It's a tough choice. I think Giant Gonzalez for Jax. That's got, like I said, Jax is one of my favorites. For basic, like Mattel basic, I'm gonna have to go with the Great Khali. But as far as Elite right here, I'm going with the Big Show, man. This Big Show figure, they did so much with this. Now, if they release a Viscera, that might be a different story. But for the time being, oh yeah, well, Well, it's the big show. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and we'll see you on the next one.